Hey everyone, thank you so much for tuning in to check out the Hornet King channel. In this video, I'll be removing a massive yellow jacket's nest from someone's house. Here's the video, check it out. Hey everyone, thanks so much for tuning in to check out this video. You can see this yellow jacket colony had built its nest inside of the house somewhere. So when I come and do a removal for somebody, this is the first thing I look for, is the in and out activity from outside. And you can see the flight pattern going in behind this piece of trim that kind of goes up behind the J channel of the soffit. So I knew they were inside of there somewhere. Oftentimes they can be right above the soffit, sometimes they can be well into the ceiling space down in the adjacent room below, and then also they can be within the block wall. So I just taped the vacuum nozzle up here and just suck up a lot of foragers. This really isn't going to change too much of the dynamics as far as the removal is concerned, but the less adults I have to deal with swarming, the better. So I just kind of let that go for about maybe 15 minutes, and then I started cracking into the soffit. So I pulled down the soffit to expose the raptor space above, and that way I can get a better idea as to maybe where the nest is at. Sometimes you'll find a trail of envelope if it's further back in between the rafters, or it's right above the soffit where you pull down the vinyl. So here you can see that there's a rafter right kind of smack in the middle of the section of soffit that I pulled down. So I kind of had to figure out, is it on the right hand side or on the left hand side? Well, spoiler alert, it's on the left hand side. But investigating further just to make sure that I had the right spot before I start tearing out anything else. So behind the insulation back there is where the nest was. So you can see it's a really awkward place for me to try to get my hands up in there, let alone be able to see with my head. So I really was relying solely on the video from my phone. So I sat the phone up in there and was able to watch the screen while I did all the work. So everything you see from inside of this space was done solely by looking at the screen while doing it, which is a good thing. For anybody who's grown up with video games, this really isn't a big deal, but still, in real life, it's a pain in the butt to have to do it that way. So I had my phone just kind of sitting up in between these rafters and then just kind of flopping the vacuum hose like an elephant's trunk, sucking up all this envelope so that way I could expose the nest. Because even if you just see envelope, you may not be at the actual nest. You could be at an old nest and the current nest is further back into the space. The other thing is too, they can be not only down inside of the inside between the rafters, they could also be down in the block of the foundational wall. They could be up in the wall in the adjacent room above. They could be anywhere. So the first thing is to identify where they are coming in from outside, and then work your way inward or work from the inside out. You can see I'm attached all to my glove here just from flopping that hose up in there. They attack my glove, and for the most part they sting it, and their stinger gets stuck in the leather of the glove. No, they don't really pull out their stinger after they sting, but when they sting something like leather, they do actually disembowel themselves a lot like a honeybee. So I spent a lot of time here just vacuuming up as many of the foragers as I can, and any of the workers, guards, whatever you want to call them, from inside the nest. And that's just less that are going to fly out towards me. Luckily, with the flashlight shining there, they do get attracted specifically to the flashlight, so they don't fly past that and then come out and then just swarm around. Not that really that's a problem. It's just more that I have to clean up at the end of the removal. Doesn't matter what removal I'm doing though. There's always something to clean up from outside. There's always going to be a swarm. There's always going to be ones laying on the ground or ones crawling on me or whatever. So it's really just to try to do a little bit of damage control as far as what level of swarm I have to deal with and what level of cleanup I have to do. So using my pry bar here, again, I'm looking at the screen of my phone while I'm doing this. There's really no way for me to be able to see that. So I reach the bar in there and just seeing how the nest behaves when I pull on it to know how big it is or how much further back I have to grab from. But luckily I was able to get the majority of the nest. You'll see here that this is only the top 2 comb layers. There's actually more layers down below, which I could not see. So I had to shine the phone down in there, or the camera, so that way I could see better as to how much comb I had left. So this is a nice large size. It's about 14 to 16 inches in diameter. It's a pretty good size, but also you can see the really intricate bullseye, and the white that you're seeing are the silk caps of the pupating adults inside the comb. The empty spaces are probably just eggs. There's really not really ever any empty cells. They usually have at least an egg inside of them. And then the creamy color are the larvae. So just taking my time vacuuming off here. This really isn't super necessary, but it's just nice when I'm putting things in the bin, because the lid is off the bin after I put them in, and it's nice to just have the majority of them sucked off the comb, so that way there's not a bunch of them that are going to fly around when I take the lid off later. And this being an eastern yellow jacket colony, their nest is really, really brittle, so it's easy to be able to vacuum off the envelope from the comb. This is also kind of a cramped spot too, because I'm actually down underneath of the overhang from the house, and it's inside a garden. It's actually behind bushes, so I'm like wedged against the wall, and I'm in a short spot, so it's a really, really tight spot to work. Plus I can't see up inside of there, so I'm having to reach my arms up inside while looking at the phone and doing all that, plus feeling around. I go a lot by feeling. It's actually funny, these removals are done mostly by hearing and by feel. So hearing by locating the nest, by being able to listen to the wall or the floor or whatever, and then by touch, because most of the times I don't cut the hole big enough to be able to like fit my whole head in there so I could see. So I have to like feel my hand up inside of an empty cavity and feel for the comb and feel for the larva and everything else, which is pretty unnerving when you think about it. You're reaching your hand into the unknown to find a massive nest with thousands of wasps inside that can kill you. So yes, I have been stung through my gloves. The new suit that I bought has softer leather gloves, and for whatever reason, those softer leather, if a wasp stings it, and even if I break them off from the glove itself, their stingers still poke through, and sometimes I can push my finger into the stinger. So this isn't super necessary, but I'm just trying to vacuum up as much of the envelope as I can. Not that that really changes much. It's not like that I'm leaving the nest up inside there, but I do try to clean up the spaces as much as possible. Not that anybody's ever going to see it, but it's just nice to have that all cleaned up for the client. So here I'm just spending some time just holding my vacuum here, sucking up some of the foragers and the swarm. And then I spray a bit of black flag. Now this is a spider and scorpion spray. This is not a hornet spray, and it's because it stays foamier for a longer period of time. Hornet and wasp spray, it foams up really quick, and then it also dissipates really quick, and then you're just left with like a residue. This, however, stays foamy for a very long time, so if I spray that into the corrugation of the soffit, it deters wasps for at least a couple days. So just closing off everything, just trying to make it look like I was never there. Luckily it was vinyl soffit. Aluminum soffit is a real pain in the butt. You have to play blacksmith at the end because you're almost guaranteed you're going to bend little portions of it or ripple a little bit. Luckily with vinyl, it's very flexible and very forgiving. And just vacuuming up a few of the other foragers and swarm that's left. So once I get the nest home, I'm just tearing it open and vacuuming up as many as I can, and that way I can feed this to the animals. It's not a super big deal if they fly out and swarm and carry on, because they're going to go right back to this nest. They're in completely uncharted territory. They're not going to just like fly off and start a nest somewhere else, and even the ones that aren't sucked up, they're going to pretty much die within a couple days anyway without the nest.
There's the queen.
People always ask to see the queen. This is what she looks like. This is the queen mother. And into the vacuum she goes. So people comment a lot of times on my videos that they were stung by a wasp for no reason. That doesn't happen. Either they were defending their nest and you didn't know there was a nest there, or you handled them, stepped on them, something like that, or you disturbed their hunting ground. Now their hunting ground can be a ways away from their nest, and this is going to be a prime example. Let me show you. This is a bald-faced hornet forager that was hunting flies around some old chicken feed I had down in my yard.
She's literally just standing on these broadleaves and just waiting for flies.
She was taking advantage of the flies going around that old chicken feed and going down here every day. I came down here every day and found her hunting.
No wonder she was annoyed by me coming over. And my footprint's right in that stuff, so that's probably... So I got stung by a bald-faced hornet. Wow, that fly actually just like landed on her.
And then I actually got to witness her catch a fly But unfortunately, when I was trying to get a close-up shot of her chewing the fly, she flew off. So but at least saw her do it.
Of course.
So this is another example of some foragers that are going out and they found some meat. This is actual barbecue chicken that I was finished up with, and I just threw it in my yard. And then I came out the next day, and they had chewed through a majority of this chicken. I couldn't believe it. So if, unbeknownst to you, if you're a homeowner and you threw out some chicken or whatever, and you walked down through your yard and you kicked it, and you didn't know that there was a bunch of yellow jackets all over it, they would be pretty perturbed at you and probably sting you. So they're chewing up this entire thing, and then they take and feed it to their larva. This one was too heavy, but she ended up taking off. So this is a Kuso dogwood berry, and they kind of make like a peach-like material in their fruit. And there's about, I don't know, 6 or 7 yellow jackets inside of this thing, chewing it up from the inside out. Again, same type of situation. If you walked by and you didn't know that that berry was being chewed on by yellow jackets, you could kick it, and then that would disturb them, and maybe one would get the inclination to sting you. So people often ask, how in the world do I mow my grass around all these hornets' nests, because they're going to sting me, they're going to attack me, and so on and so forth. They do not. I do not. I mow my grass as if anybody else would mow their grass who did not have a nest at their house. I drive my lawnmower right past these nests and don't pay them any mind at all. Most of the time you'll see I don't even look at the nest, even though I'd set up the camera to get these shots. So I think I show you 4 nests that I do. So there's 3 bald-faced hornet nests that I mowed by, and then a ground yellow jacket nest. None of which came after me, attacked me, nothing. This is what I do every time I mow. But I just wanted to give you guys a little idea as to how I mow my grass around these super dangerous, quote-unquote, yellow jackets nests. This one's actually the most tricky because my tractor sometimes bumps the stones. And this one, I actually take my push mower and get right up underneath of it for the most part. By the end of the season, it was so heavy that that branch was hung down so low that it was almost touching the grass.
Hey, yummy turkey. Gobble, gobble, gobble. Gobble, gobble, gobble. Hey, little turkey. Hey, Daisy. Here, turkey. Look. Hey, Giblet. Hey, Giblet. Oh, that's a nice Giblet. She's a good girl. Hey, Daisy. Hi, Daisy. Right here, look. Look. They're still alive. Gobble, gobble, gobble. Gobble, gobble, gobble. How you doing, turkey? Gobble, gobble, gobble. Gobble, gobble, gobble. Beep, beep. Beep, 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 beep. Hi, Daisy. Hey, turkey. Come here, turkey. Come here, turkey. Hi, Humphrey. Hey, squirrely squirps. There's a larva, squirrely squirrel. That yummy larva, squirrely squirrel. Ooh, you popped it, squirrely squirrel. You popped the larva, squirrely squirrel. Hi, Humphrey. Hi, Humphrey. Oh, squirrely squirrel. Are you gonna have some larvae, squirrely squirrel? Are you gonna have some larvae, squirrely squirrel? I know you like the European hornet, squirrely squirrel. Oh, squirrely squirrel. Oh, squirrely squirrel. Are those yummy larvae, squirrely squirrel? You want the adult wasp, squirrely squirrel? It's a feast for everyone. It's a french fry, squirrely squirrel. Is that a yummy french fry, squirrely squirrel? Is that a yummy french fry, squirrely squirrel? Avery! Avery! Does that make your nipples taste like french fries, squirrely squirrel? Does that make your nipples taste like french fries, squirrely squirrel?
Alright everyone, thank you so much for tuning in to check out the Hornet King channel. If you guys enjoyed this content, drop in the comments, let me know what you think. If you have any suggestions for future videos or something you'd like to see me cover in an upcoming video, also drop in the comments, let me know. If you haven't subscribed already, please consider doing so. And if you'd like to, hit the bell notification down below, and that way you guys get an update anytime I do post a video. Alright everyone, thank you so much for tuning in to check out this video and supporting my channel, and I'll catch you on the next video.
Alright, girlfriend, smile for the camera. People ask all the time on the channel about these, and it's just like, I don't do too much with solitary wasps on the channel because people like seeing the big nests, so I don't really film the cicada killers all that much. Yeah, she's stinging it right now.